welcome to the Next Wave Digital Video. I'm your host, Tony Reale, and
co-host Sean Bowers.
All right, we are here. We're going to talk about the Redrock microRemote infrastructure. This has been something that has, I would say, revolutionized the way that we've shot over the past couple of years. It's pulling focus is a really important aspect of your cinematography. A lot of people, especially young novices, they take it for granted, perhaps. They either rely on autofocus or they just don't think about it too much. But, Sean is my AC on set, and he has gotten amazingly well at pulling focus, and there is an art form to
thank
it.
you.
It's something that, as a shooter, I don't have to think about as much, but then when I go back and look at it, I'm seeing the execution, and there's a symbiosis that happens. Like, you learn how the way I shoot, you know where to kind of follow along with it. So
right. Yeah, there's like when I was first looking at starting ACing and looking into pulling focus and the art form that it is, I was really amazed. Looking at how they do it in film, and you have the follow focus right on the camera, and you're judging distance, and they're just doing it all by eye, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
I don't know if I.
They
can
won't
do
even
that.
look at a monitor necessarily. They'll just like follow along, look at the side of the camera, and guess the range between the camera and the subject. Those are good people.
Yeah, I remember hearing one guy say that they won't look at a monitor because it's just adding another point of looking to it, and they need to keep their eye on the lens and the distance where the object is or the talent. And yeah,
so that's
the monitor's
distracting.
So I was like, oh, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do, So having this system was a big step up. The next big step up was going to cinema lenses.
Yeah.
Doing photography lenses was really hard to learn on, but I guess I was glad I learned on that because you have to be. There's such a harsh learning curve for some of those, and then when I went over to cinema lenses, it was like, oh, this is nice.
So like the microRemote, it does have the ability to kind of map over. So it's got full 360-degree rotation.
Yeah.
But it does have the ability to map like a smaller rotation that you would get on a photography lens across that. But that doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be as responsive as a cinema lens.
Yeah, it has a fairly high resolution on the pot. The sensor that it has here. So you are able to, for example, map only a section of the lens to the whole turning radius of this to give you a little more finesse.
So if you were to turn it like this far on the follow focus, it might only turn this far on the lens.
Yeah.
So and you can even map like a smaller distance. So if you know that you're going to only be moving this far, even on our cinema lenses, if you're moving that much, Sean could map the whole thing just to have that greater range of detail.
Yeah, because we actually had to use some photography lenses on one shoot, on one thing that we did, and I was pulling focus on that, and I was just like, like 5 feet, it's like, I moved, now you half a millimeter, I'm like, oh, I don't miss those.
Yep. So at the early stages, we had some frustrations with the system that all got kind of ironed out with firmware updates, and even just working directly with Brian at Redrock, he was really great about listening to our feedback, asking us. He's called us up several times, said, how's it going? So I really commend
In fact, a little too much. Just kidding, Brian. Just kidding.
So we've had a chance to kind of experiment with some stuff like there's the start-stop cable right here.
Great gimbal use, of course.
So let's just go over the system, the Redrock system. So this is your receiver. So this would be considered your transmitter. This would be considered your receiver.
And this has changed. I mean, it's a little bit more streamlined now, the newer one. They are going to be coming out a new integration after this as well. The
right, so we'll go over this and we'll talk about the other one.
Yeah.
So there's several channels here. We have power, which goes directly to the power DTAP or whatever power source.
Yeah, 9 volt to 14 volt or something like that.
Yeah, there's
range.
a wide range. I think even like 7.2 or below than that.
Okay, yeah.
So direct, I believe you can go directly into a wired controller or a thumb wheel or something like that. Accessory, that's where you do something to like this, the run, start, stop cable. So you can hit the record button directly from the microRemote.
Right here. There's the camera, which you'd be able to press that button there and be able to start and stop.
And then there's motor, so that is what goes then to the motor. So there'd be a cable that would run to the motor. So there are some newer systems that all the receiver is built into the motor. I like that, and I know that Redrock is working on their Eclipse system that will have that in the future, which is a much more modular system.
Plus more features than that even.
Right. So I'm going to definitely be keeping my eye out on that as a potential upgrade. This still works great. I mean, we've been using it for years. But
love it. amount
Having
of torque
one
to
less thing that you would have to rig up on your system would be nice. So so that's on my shopping list, my wish list in the future. So that's the receiver, and it's got a quarter 20, so you kind of put wherever you need to on the system. Now talking about power, they just came out with their power dock system, and this uses an LPE6 Canon battery that you can pop in there, and then you can plug this into the power source. So we used to use DTAP. We still use DTAP a lot if we're using it on the Red or the FS700.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to slim it down and maybe go on, say, like the FS5 or on a gimbal
Yeah.
or on
Something that doesn't have built-in DTAP or
right. So on a jib or something like that.
and then adding a V-Lock battery would just be too much.
Right. So this is an awesome solution. And the cool thing about the system, it doesn't really draw that much power.
Yeah, that's one thing that's impressive. This thing sips power. Yeah, we've never had a problem with power consumption. It's great on that. Also, just it has a USB out on this too, on the plate, so you can use that for other accessories as well, which is great.
We haven't tested it, but it probably would work like a Paralinx or...
Yeah, we haven't tested it. It is outrated at 5 volts at 0.5 amps. So
then it wouldn't work with the Paralinx.
It wouldn't work with the Paralinx.
Yeah, then so other accessories that might need that. So setting it up, there is an auto calibrate feature. You would turn it on, power up. You can either auto calibrate it, so that's great if you have cinema lenses where they have the hard stops, and then if it doesn't have that, you just set the manual calibration, and then you go until you hit that infinity or until you hit minimum focus, and then you just stop and hit set.
Yeah, very simple interface to use.
Yeah. Or like we said earlier, if you're going to do it over a specific mapped portion of the lens that you're only going to be focusing on, you can also do it that way as well.
Yeah, a few other things just quickly you can also set is the amount of torque that it uses. You can also set a finesse mode that they added.
Yeah, artistry.
The artistry, yep, which is if you are newer to focus pulling, or just the way that you use it, if you're doing a really quick whip from a hard stop to hard stop, you can program in an exponential curve to help kind of slow down as you get to the end instead of just a really hard stop. So depending on your operational skills or the type of what you're going for, depending on the pull, you're able to program a certain amount of that exponential curve, either so it's linear straight or really get it cramped.
It reduces the kind of the jitteriness that you might get from first starting off in focus.
Yeah.
Now Sean's used it, and I think you kind of turn
I prefer not to use it
almost all the way, because once you get good at it, you can ramp in and ramp out
I'm used to
yourself.
ramping in and out.
So as far as rigging goes, this will work with 15 mil or 19 mil lenses. Redrock also came out with a Rhino mount, which is kind of cool. It just goes on a cold shoe, so this is great for DSLRs, micro or mirrorless lenses.
He's on the A7S.
Mirrorless camera rigs where you've got that cold shoe at the top. You pop it on there, it locks in pretty tight, and then you can put either the receiver or the motor directly on the lens. So
you don't need that whole rail system. I just wanted to make a quick mention too. Of course, you're able to change the gear quick size, but it's done a very quick release system. It's keyed, very easy to do. There you go. So that's nice to be able to switch it so fast without having to use a screwdriver.
And then when you're rigging the motor, you can also rotate this around too. So then, depending on where your lens is and all that kind of stuff, there's lots of ways to rig it.
So and that bites down pretty hard too.
Yeah,
if it's far away and you need hard torque.
Yeah, I have worked with a couple other wireless follow focus systems who will remain nameless, and I like this system. We are not Hollywood professionals, but we are professionals that work in commercial productions, and we use this on almost every shoot.
Yeah.
Sean sits his butt in front of a nice big old
if
IPS
I can
monitor.
sit. I tried. One of the best tips I heard is to try to sit when you can.
Yep.
Especially if you're fat like me. Anyways.
So he's got his big old IPS monitor that we'll set up with a Paralinx wireless to it, and he'll be able to pull focus and just pour over that. The other configuration that we've done is we'll get another Paralinx, so we'll go to a handheld monitor, and then the reason we have this little 15 mil split off here is we'll sometimes mount it onto that rig, and then he can kind of pull focus while looking at the monitor. So those are the two main configurations that we've used.
Yeah.
But it's worked. Aside from some of the issues that we had earlier on, this is with us
very solid
on every shoot. And it, like I said, it's changed the way that we have approached our productions. There was a date and time, I would say several years ago, where a wireless follow focus was a luxury. Maybe it still is, but for us, it's become a necessity. And there's certain accessories that you go from not having to having, and then now it's a staple of your production.
Yeah.
Wireless monitoring was one of those, and I'd say wireless focus pulling is definitely one of those. So this is a great system. Now, again, there's Eclipse coming down the road. I know that there's some other systems that exist out there. All I can do is tell you what we've used. This system has worked well for us, and we do love it. So it's great that they have the new accessories. I haven't used the focus wheel at all because usually I'm not one man banding it when we're using this system. I'm having Sean use it, so that's never been a priority. But yeah, you've used it more than I have. So has it met the expectations and needs that you've had as an AC?
Yeah, and like I said, we haven't used really top end follow focuses. We've had some other ones in that are comparable to the price range of this, and this one outshines them greatly. Really enjoy using it. It's very solid. I love using it. It's been solid performance. Like I said, we had some of the software issues in the beginning. Those had gotten, or firmware I should say, those bugs have been ironed out, and it's been a solid piece of kit that we've used for a long time and durable. I did drop it once accidentally on the pot, and then we had to send it in. But all the abuse that it's been through, worked very well.
The one annoying thing that I've had with it is just simply this battery plate back here.
Yeah,
you have to unscrew.
This one here. That's the wireless.
That's the transmitter. Yeah. You have to. It's got these little tiny screws that you have to have the right size screwdriver, and if you're not careful, they can eventually
it's just a time convenience thing because
strip out.
The batteries will last in here for about a day. No problem. You have a full day, and I usually change them.
So at some point we are changing them.
But if it's halfway through the shoot and then I have to go that, and I can't just pull the door off and then put them in. It's just a mild inconvenience.
Slightly annoying.
Not a deal breaker at all.
But otherwise, there's very few things that we can say poorly about this system now. So.
Yeah. Plus the rings removable. A lot of them are, of course. You can get multiple rings.
You can mark it.
Yeah.
So that is the microRemote. This wasn't necessarily a review. It's just really us telling you about the system that's worked out for us. And so, if you're in the market for one, this should be on your list. It really should be. It should be something that, at a bare minimum, you try and maybe rent. But
right, it's one of those things that seemed like a luxury at first, but once we started implementing it and using it, it's hard to do without it.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.